Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining me today. My name is Melissa, and I'm here to lead you through all levels yoga. So we will practice together for 45 minutes. Just a reminder to listen to your body through the class. If any stretches don't work for you, you can always skip them, come on out and modify. And things that you'll need for your class today is it'll be great to have a yoga mat. It could be nice to have a block and a blanket close by as well, yoga block and blanket. So if you don't have those, that's fine. We can definitely work through the practice without it, but it can just give a nice little bit of support if you need that as well. So as we get started today, I was thinking we could start with a breath. I haven't taught this one in a while. It's called Nadi Shodhana, and it's called the channel purifying breath. And this breath is really good for relaxation. It helps to give the mind quite a bit of an anchor point because we are working a little bit with our hands as we're breathing. So it really has this very calming and soothing effect. And it's also really good for balancing our body and our mind. So we have the two sides of our brain, and it can be very aligning and balancing to the brain, kind of creating that balance throughout, which is really nice. So to start, we are going to take our right hand up, and I won't be mirroring you in this one. So you'll just want to grab your right hand, and then you'll just take your two peace sign fingers and your thumb. And we're just going to start by taking our thumb and then blocking off the right nostril. So you're just going to take your thumb, block off the right nostril, and then you are going to take a nice deep breath in through your left nostril. And then at the top of the breath, let's block off our left nostril, and then you're going to exhale through the right nostril. Take a nice deep full breath in through the right. Now close off that right nostril and then exhale through the left. Inhale through the left. Then you'll close, switch, exhale through the right. Inhaling through the right. At the top of that inhale, close off your right nostril and then exhale through your left nostril. Take a nice deep breath in through the left. Close off the left. Exhale right. Inhale right. Close, switch, exhale left. Inhale left. Close, switch, exhale right. And let's just try to breathe this one at your own pace for a moment. Now, once you exhale on the left, we can just take a minute just to release the hands and just bring your awareness back to your natural rise and follow the breath. And simply notice how you feel. So maybe feeling yourself a bit more relaxed. Maybe noticing through that breathing exercise, you could drop into the present moment a bit easier. And we are going to start by drawing the chin into the chest, lengthen the back of the neck. Gazing to the sky, let your head relax. Chin to chest, head relaxes. Gaze to the sky. Chin to chest. Gaze to the sky. Fantastic. Now let's come to a neutral neck when you're ready. Right ear to right shoulder, gently soften. Float it up to neutral, realign. Left to left. Back to center and side to side here. So just as we're moving through these neck stretches, try to release any tension that you might be holding onto in the neck area. Back to center, let's realign here, gaze off the right shoulder. Back to center, lengthen and gaze off the left. And 2 times on each side. Good. Let's come back to center and circling the head here. So maybe find large circles or maybe find smaller circles. And if you'd like, maybe imagine that there was a clock in front of you and you wanted to run your nose to the numbers of the clock. Reverse, flow in the other direction. Great. Let's bring that into a neutral neck here and float it into tabletop. So as you come into table, if you would like, you can grab a blanket to do a little bit of padding on your knees. So we'll take our knees, our hips in line, wrists and shoulders in line. Feel the fingers fan out nice and wide. So we'll ground down through our index finger and through the thumb. So we'll take some time today to work with our shoulders and open up the neck a little bit. So we'll work with a variation of thread the needle. For this one, right hand to the sky, nice deep full breath in. Thread the arm underneath your body, maybe do a little relaxation of that head down to the mat. We'll just pause here for a moment and hand to the sky, let's breathe in. And arm under the body. And 3 more times with your breath. When that feels complete, let's relax that arm down and take a moment to pause here. So just letting your head relax and relaxing into the shoulder a little bit. Finding your drishti, find that one spot to focus your concentration and to focus your awareness. Staying here, if you would like to build on this, left hand can reach to the sky. You'll have the palm of your left hand facing the left side of the room. Whether the hand is up or down, you could work on straightening out your left leg. So toes could curl under, leg is straight. Variation to lift the leg as well if you'd like. So hand up or down, you can lift that leg on up. And if you wanted to build on that even more, you could take your hand for your foot, coming into sugar cane, and creating that sensation of kicking the foot into the hand. Let's come on up nice and slow. So as you take your knee down and your left hand down, let's sweep our right hand right on up to the sky. And circle that arm. So we'll find a bit of movement here to open up that shoulder joint a little bit more. Reverse, let's flow in the other direction. And release. Let's take ourselves back on through into table. Left hand rises, nice full breath here. Float the arm under. Feel that head relax down a little bit. Pause and hand back on through to the sky. Rise on up. And release. Let's go 3 more times here with your breath. Good. Gently relaxing the arm down, letting your head relax down, taking that time to find your spot to focus on. Make sure that you're breathing and taking this pose where you'd like to go with it. So if you wanted to, step 1 would be to take your right hand up to the sky. And then whether the hand is up or not, step 2, you could straighten out your leg, have your toes on the mat, maybe lift your leg on up. Option for the third stretch, hand for the foot, trying out that bind, working with sugar cane, and creating a bit of a sensation of kicking the foot into the hand. Coming on out, knee down, hand down, left hand to the sky, circle it out, large circles or small. Move in the other direction. Good, let's bring ourselves into table. Press it back to a child's pose. So for this version of child's pose, if you'd like, you could have your palms face up, just have the backs of the hands touching the mat. Knees can be together if you would like. That will help you to open up your low back. You could also take your big toes to touch. Maybe have the knees away from one another. Giving a bit of a leg stretch and a hip stretch here. Let's begin to plant the hands down to the mat. Come on forward into tabletop. Lift to a down dog as you exhale. As you find down dog, let's shake it out a little bit here. So we'll bend one knee and bend the other knee. Relax your head, yes. Relax your head, no. And just try to get really grounded here in the hands. Get nice and grounded in the feet as well. Good. Let's bring ourselves into a forward fold. So toes to the hands, come on forward. And shaking it out in your forward fold as well. So maybe bend one knee and the other. Relax your head, yes. Relax your head, no. Good. Let's come back to stillness here. Take yourself to a half lift. Fold yourself to the mat. And let's come on up. We'll rise for a mountain pose as you inhale. And draw the hands at the heart space as you exhale. Let's work with tree pose. We'll come into Vrikshasana. So for tree, right foot will begin to lift. You can either have your toes on the ground, create a little kickstand here, maybe bring your foot anywhere on the leg that feels comfortable. Hands can reach the sky if you'd like. And our trick with balancing poses is to find one spot to focus on. Find a spot to focus your concentration, to focus your awareness. And once you find that spot, not letting the eyes shift at all. From here, let's try standing splits. So we are going to extend that right leg right on up to the sky, hinge at your hips and fold down. As you find standing splits, maybe look to the wall that's behind you. And maybe look to the ceiling that's up behind the body. See if that just helps you move a little bit deeper into that leg stretch, into that hip stretch. Take your knee into your nose on exhale. Let's do a round and a crunch. Float your leg up and float it back. Exhale, round. Take your knee to your nose. Up and back. And let's go one more time here. Knee to your nose, exhale, round. Up and back. Runner's lunge from here. And begin to bend and straighten your front leg. So for this one, if you wanted to make it a little easier, you can lower your right knee down onto the ground for support. And you can also bring your hands on blocks for support as well. Let's take a moment here, straighten out your front leg, let yourself fold over. So this takes you into a variation of a runner stretch. Try to relax your head and relax your neck. Bend into your left knee, left hand to the sky on exhale, bring yourself into a twist. And then as you're twisting with your in-breath, feel your spine lengthen. And then on your out-breath, allow for your twist to deepen. Float your hand down. Let's try a yogi squat pose from here. So left foot will walk to the left edge of the mat. Right foot takes a big step to the upper right edge of the mat. Take your feet out nice and wide here. And the nice thing with this one is you can always hang out in this wide-legged forward fold. If you'd like to try for yogi squat, have your toes turn out a little bit, heel shift in slightly, deep bend to your knees, and then just gently drop your hips back and down. If you wanted to prop your body here, you could grab a block and you could just sit on the block. You could also take your blanket, roll it up, and draw it underneath the heels. That'll make it a little more accessible as well. Let's take ourselves back on through to a fold. Draw your feet in line with your hips. Reach for opposite elbows behind the backs of your legs. So feel free to take a deep bend in your knees if needed. Reach for opposite elbows. And begin to straighten out the legs and let that draw you deeper into a forward fold. Try to feel the spine lengthening, backs of legs lengthening. And release, float the hands down towards the mat. Take yourself to your half lift here. Fold yourself down to the mat. Come on up, full breath. Let that breath rise you into mountain. Hands at the heart, exhale. Left leg rises, tree pose, Vrikshasana on the other side. Hands can sweep up. Maybe bring the hands into prayer above the head. Imagine that you could grow roots from the bottom of your foot down into the mat. So try to get grounded through the inside and the outside of your foot. And noticing your body's natural tendency. If you tend to roll in, maybe tend to roll to the outside of the foot. From here, we'll bring it into standing split. So we're going to send that left leg up, little swan dive down forward. As you set up in standing split, try to relax your head as best as you can. So we tend to hold tension in the neck. Even sometimes we think the neck's relaxed, but we are still holding tension. So try to let that go with each exhale. Knee to your nose. Let's do a round and a crunch here. Send your leg up and float it back. Exhale, round. Up and back. One more time here. Good. Runner's lunge. Bend and straighten the front leg. For alignment, the most important alignment cue is that your right knee and your right ankle aren't in the same line. So we don't want this knee to come too far forward. If it's coming too far forward, just bring a bit more distance between your front foot and your back foot. The knee can be behind the ankle, but we just don't want it to come too far forward on us. Straighten the front leg. Let's fold ourselves over. Right knee bends, right hand to the sky. Let's take our twist, runner's twist. And then with your in-breath, feel your spine lengthen. Out breath, let your twist deepen. Let's lower the hand down, left leg rise, or let's take ourselves into that nice fold with the legs wide. So we're gonna float our left foot to the upper left edge of the mat. Right foot's gonna walk off to the right. Feet will be nice and wide, toes turning out, heels shifting in, hanging out here. Option to float yourself into that squat position. Feel free to grab those props if you need to. Try to let the weight come back into your heels a little bit on this one. Almost feel a sensation like the toes could lift from the mat. Bring yourself forward into a forward fold. Take your feet in line with your hips. Take a deep bend in your right knee. Right hand plants. Let's bring that left hand to the sky on exhale, twist. This will be a nice open twist. These tend to feel a little easier than the closed twist. Fold yourself down. Keep your legs exactly how they are. Now we'll try a closed twist. So it might be a little bit trickier. Right hand up. And then feel free, if that's a little bit too much tension on your shoulder, right hand onto your right hip, and then try to roll that right shoulder back and then left shoulder under a little bit. Perfect. Float yourself back on through to center. Left knee bends, left hand plants, right hand rises. So this is back to that open twist. And this one gives a wonderful IT band on that right side. So we're just gonna breathe into that nice stretch through the IT band. Back to center, legs stay how they are. Let's take our left hand up on exhale, twist. Grab onto the hip if you wanted, that hip crease. You could also wrap your arm around your low back if you'd like. Take a half bind here. And let it go. Let's split ourselves back on through to a fold. Plant your hands, plank, high push-up pose. As you find plank, knees can always lower if you need a little support. It's always good to have that proper alignment. Let's take an up dog here. So we'll lower it down to the mat, chaturanga. Upward facing dog. So we're going to take this opportunity to open up the chest and the heart space. Nice back bend for the 3 parts of the back. Down dog, breathe out. And working with side plank. So let's come on forward into plank. Right hand to the sky for side plank. So this is where you can lower your bottom leg down for less, top leg could lift for more, and you can also come down to the forearm. Let's work a little bit with an IT band stretch. So we'll build on this one. Right foot, we'll take a step about halfway up the yoga mat. Have your right toes pointing to the right side of your room. Press firmly into that left heel, or the outer edge of your left foot rather, to try to lift this hip up a little bit more. We want to energetically lift and rise it up, and that's going to give us that good stretch on the outside of the right leg. Shifting on the hands and the feet. Let's take it into a 3-limbed dog. Bring your foot forward. We're going to rise, crescent warrior. And then as you take crescent, let's try to get nice and grounded in the legs. These can be so strengthening for our legs, building that heat in the body. Activate your left leg. Press firmly through the heel and the back of the knee. Let's float ourselves down. Runner's lunge. Left leg up. Standing splits. And then in your standing splits position, let's take those 3 crunches. Knee to your nose on exhale, round and crunch. Float it up, float it back. Exhale, round. Up and back. Let's go one more time here. Standing splits. Warrior 2. So as you align here in Warrior 2, try to feel that the feet are really grounded. So almost imagine that you could pull the feet in towards one another. Let those legs be very active, engaged, and energized. Reverse. Front hand up and back. Back hand can glide down the back leg. Maybe wrap your arm around your low back. Maybe reach for the other hip crease here. Core engages. Back up through. Let's try out a lateral angle. Right arm to right leg. Left hand to the sky. Hand can come down to the mat if you want it. Try a little bit more stretch. Core engages. Let's rise on up. Back on through to warrior two. Windmill the hands to the earth. Let's float ourselves to runner's lunge. Come on back to plank. High push-up pose. Right hand to the sky. Let's try side plank again. And then hold in the traditional side plank. So for this one, bottom leg down for less. Top leg lifts for more. Maybe drop down to the forearm. That left arm if you wanted. Give the wrist a little bit of a break. Float yourself into plank. High push-up. Lower down chaturanga. Upward facing dog. Try to open up the chest and the heart space here. Downward facing dog. Core engages. Let's bring ourselves forward. Plank. Left hand rises. Side plank. Left foot takes that big step halfway up the mat. Try to lift that hip up towards the sky. It's also going to give you a little bit of a hip stretch as well. So you may feel that one. May not, depending on how open the hips are for you. Let's do a reset. Shifting on the hands and the feet. 3-limb dog. So bring that left leg right on up to the sky. Float your foot through, rising, crescent. Feel yourself drop into your breath. Breathe in and out through your nose. Runner's lunge. Right leg rises, standing splits. Let's bring our knee to our nose on exhale. Round and crunch. Float it up and float it back. Exhale, round. Up and back. One more time here with the breath. Back on through to standing splits. Warrior two, let's float it back and open up. Let the core engage here. Tailbone tucked. Navel back and up to the spine slightly. Reverse, float it up and back. You can feel the palm of your left hand face the back of the room or face down to the ground. Core engages, rise on up. We'll come on down for a lateral angle. Maybe extended lateral angle here. And just trying not to collapse here into the shoulder, almost create a bit of a twisting sensation. Try to roll that right shoulder back, right hip back, left hip under, left shoulder under. Core engages, rise on up. Let's put ourselves into warrior two. Windmill the hands down. Runner's lunge. Float it back into plank. High push-up pose. Let's take our left hand to the sky when you're ready. Side plank, Vashisthasana. We'll work with the traditional one. Try to feel that top hip rising to the sky. Let's feel that top hip lifting to the sky as well. Float yourself back on through to plank. Chaturanga Dandasana. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Come on forward. Let's bring ourselves into a forward fold. Halfway lift. Release. Rise up. Mountain. Hands at heart. And chair pose. Utkatasana. So we'll take our feet right in line with our hips. Drop the hips back and down. Hands to the sky. Gaze down, make sure that you can see the tips of your toes. We just don't want our knees to come too far forward here. Hands at the heart, full breath to lengthen. Twist to the right, so you can hook your left elbow on the right knee. Encourage your prayer hands to the center of the chest. Back to center, Utkatasana chair. Twist to the left. Maybe gaze to that right knee, maybe back it up a little bit. Sometimes that knee can kind of shift forward a bit. Good. Back to center. Let's take our hands to the sky, straighten the legs, hands into prayer, and hands at the heart space. So let's try that with a little bit of movement this time. So come into chair, hands are at prayer at heart. Let's twist to the right. So left elbow hooks on the right knee. Coming back to center, let's straighten out our legs. Hands will reach and stretch to the sky. Sink your hips back and down for chair and twist to the left. Good. Back to center, hands to the sky, legs will straighten. Twist to the right. And move at your own pace. So maybe each time that you flow through this, you can move a little deeper into that twist and get a little bit more into your low back, mid back, and upper back. Now let's hold it. We're going to come into chair twist. So have your right elbow hooked on your left knee rather. Stay here with prayer hands. Option to fly those hands open, one hand forward, one hand back. We're going to reset. So straighten out your legs, hands to the sky, hands at the heart space prayer. Let's drop hips back and down. Left elbow hooks on your right knee. Prayer hands at center of the chest. Maybe fly those arms open. One hand up, one hand down. Good. Float yourself back on through. Hands to the sky, straighten the legs. Let's bring our hands at the heart as you exhale. Hands to the sky, breathe in. Hold yourself down. Let's breathe out. Lift your spine and lengthen. Hands plant, plank, high push up. Lower all the way down to the mat. So as you come down to the mat, we're going to work a little bit with our quads. Left arm can prop you up into a half Sphinx pose. Right hand for your right foot. And try to pull that leg into your body a bit. Now, if this isn't feeling accessible, you can always grab a strap. So the yoga strap can be really great. You can link that on your foot to pull it in. You can also kind of modify as well. Maybe not reach back for it, maybe just have it bent and pulling it in. But this one is really fantastic for your quads. Quads are most likely just shortening all day if you're sitting, driving, sitting at the desk, things like that. All of that kind of shortens up the quads. So this is a really good stretch for bringing more balance into the front of your body and back of the body. Many people say as well that if they open up the quads, they can experience quite a lot of relief in a lot of other areas. So maybe if you open up your quads, your low back feels better. You open up your quads, if you have feet pain, that feet feel better. So it's pretty amazing how the body is so connected and everything's working together. Let's begin to release that right leg. Left hand for left foot, let's pull it in. Maybe notice if the stretch feels very similar on this side of your body to the first side of the body that we worked on. So the stretch may feel very similar. It may feel very different one side to the next. So simply just noticing that, becoming aware. Noticing the different sides of the body. Good. Let's begin to release that one. We can press ourselves on up into a table position. And as you come into table, sweep your feet to the right or the left. We'll work with seated. As you come into seated, let's work with our legs a little bit more. No, probably everyone's hips are a little tight. That's a very common complaint when people come to yoga, tight hips, low back. So let's work with a seated pigeon stretch. Left leg comes up and over to start. Create a figure 4 stretch. Flex your foot and encourage your knee down. You can stay here seated with the spine straight. Maybe give yourself a fold forward. Now, if you wanted to build on this, the second option, right knee bend. We're going to scoot our hips into the leg and just gently opening up this hip a little bit more by pressing the knee away from the face. And then if you wanted to build on that even more, you can lower your right leg and then try to stock your left knee on top of the right. And then you can line this right on top of the left. Flex your feet. And then we'll just breathe here for a moment. So if you can't get to this variation of it, or it's feeling very uncomfortable, the leg is up, you're leaning, just stop in the second or the first one. Sometimes we think in yoga, we have to do the whole, the biggest expression of the posture, but that's not the case. Yoga is all about, meeting your body where you're at and taking a posture and making it fit your body versus making your body fit into a pose. So, if you back out a little bit, it will probably be more beneficial for you as well. You'll probably get more of a hip stretch, leg stretch. This one's good for hips, legs, really good for your low back. If you ever experience sciatica or sciatic pain, it can really take pressure off of that nerve. So it's a good one to remember if you ever experience that. Let's unwrap the legs, feet nice and wide, and windshield point side to side. So just do a nice little rock to the right and the left. Good, let's give that a try on the other side. Maybe it'll be a little easier. Sometimes when we do our stretches on the second side, our body remembers where we're going, so it's not quite as tense. Right leg comes up and over. Stay here. Flex your foot. Knee presses down. Option to fold forward. Option for that second variation if you want it. So you could just scoot yourself in. Again, flex your foot. Press the knee away. So regardless of the variation, you're going to flex your foot and encourage the knee down. And then maybe working with that third option as well. And another little tip, if you are working with the third variation, is sometimes people will say in class, if I see them in person, like, oh, this is so easy. And it's like, well, because the alignment is a little bit off. So we want to, it's almost like a stacking fire log. They also call this one fire log pose. So, you will want to have that your heel in line with your knee and then your knee in line with the heel. This knee doesn't have to come down all the way. It can be lifted, but we do want to have these legs in one line and have this nice alignment of our heels and our knees as well. So let's take a minute, close the eyes and just give yourself this time to breathe here. Notice in your body where you might be holding on to tension. And then with each exhale, just let that tension go. Let your body relax and release into the stretch. Let's begin to release this one. Feet can come wide, maybe right to the edges of your yoga mat. Windshield wipe your knees to the right and the left. I really love that stretch. I always feel that the hips feel so open after that. And I don't want to say it's gentler than pigeon, but it just gets into the hips a little differently, which is really nice. So from here, let's bring ourselves down onto the back. Reach for your feet. Take a happy baby stretch. Flexing your feet. Reach through your heels. Gently rock to the right. Gently rock to the left. Bringing your knees into your chest, we'll give them a nice little hug in. Feet can come down so that feet are in line with your hips and your knees are bent. Imagine that you could squeeze a beach ball between your knees, lifting into a bridge pose. So tailbone will tuck, low back lifts from the mat, mid back lifts from the mat. Breathe here. If you wanted to deepen that, maybe fingers interlock, palms can come together. Maybe kind of wiggle those shoulder blades in towards one another as well. try to keep a neutral gaze right to the sky. So we don't want to be shifting the head around in this one. It's not where you want to lift your head and look to the right or the left. So just keep that very neutral gaze to the sky. Try to press to the inside and the outside of each foot. And release. Tailbone will tuck. Lower the upper, mid, and low back down to the mat. Soles of the feet will touch. Knees come away from one another. And we'll bring ourselves into Supta Baddha Konasana, reclining bound ankle. If you'd like to connect with your body here, maybe bringing your hands in the body. One hand to the stomach, to the navel, the other to the low ribs. Let your eyes close. And connect yourself to your breathing. With the help of the hands, knees together. Take your knees to your chest, hug them in. Take a gentle rock to the right and the left. And coming into Shavasana pose from here, we'll take some time to relax. So legs can relax, arms can relax, palms can face up. Maybe scooch the shoulder blades in towards one another. If your low back is sensitive, maybe plant your feet, knees are bent. Maybe hands on the body or arms along the body, whichever you prefer. Allow for your breath to deepen. Wiggle the fingers and toes. Come to the sides. You can just roll yourself over. Bring yourself into a fetal position here. Pressing yourself up. Comfortable position to sit in for a moment. Hands at the heart. Maybe close the eyes. Thanking yourself for practicing yoga today, for doing something so good for your mind, body, and spirit. The light within me honors the light within you. Namaste. Namaste, everyone. Thank you for joining today. It's wonderful to be here with you. I hope you have a great day today, and I look forward to seeing you next time.
Okay, thanks, Melissa.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome.